The world you know is vanishing, leaving entire cities abandoned, their streets quiet and homes left to rot. Factories will shut down, not for lack of machines, but for lack of workers. Governments will promise pensions they can never pay as national debts spiral out of control. The global economy, once driven by endless growth, will begin to shrink for the first time in human history. Japan is aging faster than anyone could imagine, a stark reality reflected in its empty streets. China, the factory of the world, has begun its long decline, losing millions of workers every year. In South Korea, a fertility rate of just 0.7 children per woman may lead future cities to resemble ghost towns instead of thriving megacities. The age of population growth is over. The age of population collapse has begun. The implications for your job, your savings, your investments are darker than most people dare to imagine. Yet inside this collapse, opportunities still exist, if you know where to look. Today we'll explore the coming demographic winter, the slow-motion collapse reshaping our future. What happens when the story of growth reverses and population expansion becomes a thing of the past? By the end of this century, according to the United Nations, global population will not be growing, it will be shrinking. Japan peaked at 128 million in 2010, but by 2100 it will barely have 75 million people. Imagine walking through Seoul in 2080, a city designed for 20 million people, struggling to sustain half that number. The age pyramid has inverted, hinting at societies with more grandparents than grandchildren, rewriting global economic rules. Why does a shrinking population spell economic disaster? Modern economies are built on the assumption of endless expansion. A shrinking workforce means fewer people producing goods, paying taxes, and building the future. Entire industries, from baby products to mortgages, begin to wither. By 2050, fewer than 1.5 workers will support every retiree. Governments face trillions in new debt as welfare costs explode. Japan has been trapped in a cycle of economic stagnation since the 1990s. Resentment grows between generations as young workers shoulder the burden of aging populations. The dystopian reality unfolds across various sectors. In shrinking nations, demand for housing plummets, leading to abandoned villages. Healthcare strains under the weight of an aging population. Nations increasingly turn to robots as the workforce diminishes. Schools continue to close each year due to dwindling student populations. Stock markets stagnate as corporate revenues struggle to keep pace. Lessons from Japan, a glimpse into the future. Japan is the canary in the coal mine. In the 1980s, it was unstoppable, the second largest economy in the world, predicted to surpass the United States. Then the demographic trap closed. Property prices collapsed by 60%, and the stock market imploded. Economic growth flatlined. Today, Japan's population shrinks by nearly 500,000 people every year. The Japanese countryside is dotted with ghost towns, its workforce ages out, and its government debt is the highest in the developed world. And yet Japan survives, not by thriving, but by adapting. It turned to automation, shifted to exporting capital abroad, and pioneered elderly care industries. But Japan is just the beginning. What we see there today will spread globally. The collapse is not a Japanese story. It is the future of the developed world. Not every nation will suffer equally. The map of global economic power will redraw itself. The losers: Japan, South Korea, China, and much of Europe, old and burdened by impossible welfare systems. The winners: nations with young, growing populations like India, Indonesia, and Nigeria. Even here, challenges loom. Can young nations provide jobs, infrastructure, and stability for their exploding populations? In every crisis, there is opportunity. Invest in healthcare and biotech, as the elderly population boom makes it an unstoppable growth sector. Automation and AI will replace workers, positioning new industrial titans in the economic landscape. The silver economy is essential, providing products and services for the elderly. Emerging markets with youth like India, Nigeria, and Indonesia present new growth potential. Prime real estate in global cities will remain magnets for wealth despite the overall collapse. Government debt crises will trigger instability, making safe havens and defensive assets crucial to protect wealth. Spread investments across geographies. Don't bet your future on one shrinking country. The age of endless growth is over. We are entering the age of demographic decline, a slow-motion collapse that will test economies, governments, and societies. Most people will be blindsided. They will watch their pensions evaporate, their governments drown in debt, their investments stagnate. But a few will prepare. A few will see the writing on the wall. And those few, those who invest in healthcare, automation, emerging markets, will profit from the greatest demographic shift in human history. The question is, which side of history will you be on? Will you cling to the old world, waiting for a growth that never returns? Or will you embrace the dystopian truth and position yourself to thrive in collapse? The choice is yours. The future will not look like the past, and only those who adapt will survive it.